Good morning, healthy foodies out there. This is Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast dedicated to one thing to learn and apply to eat better daily. I'm your host, Angela Shurina from Create Yourself That Today, your personal nutritionist, your personal health and wellness coach, your personal food detective and diet explorer, and just someone with a lot of passion and obsession for healthy eating, healthy food, nutrition, diets, everything and anything we put on our plates and in our mouth in order to hopefully feel amazing, look awesome, and perform the best on all levels. Happy Monday, guys. It's new week, it's new chance, the best time to start new diet, new healthy eating habit to improve your nutrition behaviors, your healthy eating practice. If not on Monday, then when, right? Today we are dedicating probably a couple of episodes to fasting, thing that gets more and more attention these days. It's been forgotten for a few decades, for quite a while, at least in the Western world. And now it's coming back because guess what, guys? Fasting is one of the best tools that everyone has available. It costs nothing and it can improve your digestive health, your gut health, your energy levels. It can, of course, make you leaner and you're going to lose weight. It can improve your blood glucose, your blood insulin, and can improve your cholesterol levels. Done right, fasting can fix, if not everything, almost everything, except of course for malnutrition. If your body lacks something, it's not going to get it from fasting. So fasting. What is fasting? Well, first of all, we want to distinguish between fasting and starvation. So fasting is when you say, okay, I'm not going to eat for this period of time, and because of this, and this, and that is my goal, right? So, depending, we all might have different goals for fasting. Fasting can have different duration versus starvation, when basically you would have no idea where your next meal is coming from, or when, or where from. Starvation is completely different from fasting. You'll be more stressed out, and probably you will be also malnourished at this point of starvation, and it will produce completely different physiological effect just because of different hormones that's going to be circulating because of all this stress related to starvation versus fasting that actually promotes beneficial hormones, making you feel more peaceful, and of course increasing all of the other health biomarkers. So fasting is not starvation. Fasting, again, is regulated. You know why you're doing it and for how long you're going to do it. So there are all kinds of fasting. So there is no excuse for you not to try fasting and get benefits from it. So fasting, of course, can be different in length. So for example, someone might attempt a fast of like 30 days or 2 months. The longest fast was 382 days by the really overweight guy. I forgot what was his body weight, but he was fasting for 382 days, consuming some vitamins and minerals, and of course water and some salts, and he was monitored. He was not fasting by himself for so long. His vital signs were monitored, his blood pressure, blood glucose, and other vital signs. So this is extreme fasting, but sometimes for some cases of obesity, or some cases for some cases of diabetes, or some other metabolic or other disorders, people might attempt longer fast. But if you're generally healthy, you probably don't need that kind of fast. I've never done this kind of fast. But then fast, of course, can be much shorter. So fasting for a week or 10 days or 14 days that are considered long fast, quite common. Again, they usually are undertaken by people that have some metabolic issues or some, in some form of cancers or in some types of, in cases of like neurological diseases or epilepsy. But again, for most people, I wouldn't probably recommend longer fast unless you want to get some super mental clarity and you have, a lot of weight to lose, or you want to experiment with something and see how you do it. So, just to run it as an experiment might be also a great idea. Or if you have problems, again, with your blood sugar or your insulin levels and they persist, or some gut issues that you couldn't fix otherwise. So you also might try long fast. But then there are shorter fasts that I do regularly personally. So you can do daily fast. Usually those daily fasts also called intermittent fasting, when you fast for a certain amount of hours every day. I, for example, have been fasted for 18 hours for the past couple of months. Now I want to do again like 23, 24-hour fast daily, when basically I'm going to have just one meal a day. So you can also fast, that is very popular, 16 hours a day. And of course, in those 16 hours, your sleep is included. So it's not even, that hard to do. And then you would eat for 8 hours a day. Let's say you fast from 8 p.m. To 12 p.m. the next day. And then you eat from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's what's really popular, even mostly because it gives you the chance to be social, to have dinners with your family. But you can also fast early in the day. That's what I used to do, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it actually shows that for weight loss, for better body composition, for better gut health, and improved insulin levels and blood glucose levels, early intermittent fasting is better. So again, for example, eating early in the day, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Then there are fasts that restrict your calories on certain days. 5-2 is very popular also. Basically, people eating 5 days as normal, as whatever, however they want. And then on 2 days, they would eat either one meal or two meals, giving you 500 calories for women and 600 calories for men. And then there is a fasting mimicking diet developed by Walter Longo, very popular. Or also there is a book on that fasting mimicking diet, and he basically developed protocol when you for 5 days restrict your calories and you restrict your protein also a lot, and of course you're not eating any processed foods. He has his special diet that he delivers to people, but the basics of it is first day you consume somewhere around 1,000 calories, and then for the rest 4 days you consume somewhere around 750, 800 calories that give you benefits for, again, improving your blood glucose, your insulin levels, and then, of course, losing weight, then helping, as I said, with your insulin levels, but then improving your cholesterol levels and improving your digestion and gut health. So this is fasting mimicking diet. And then there are kind of fasts in between. I do them once a week, meaning longer than 16 or 18 hours a day. So somewhere from 24 to 48. I do 42 hours every Sunday. So basically I have my dinner on Saturday and I don't eat till 12 p.m. on Monday. That's more of a longer fast. And then also fast, of course, can be different based on what you're allowed, basically what you're allowing yourself to consume. So I guess the strictest one, water, just water. Then most of the fasts allow tea, herbal tea, green tea, or black coffee. Then some people also consume bone broth, maybe some vitamins and minerals. That is usually used for longer fasts. So you so to make sure you don't lose essential amount of electrolytes that is usually actually maintained for fast that no longer than a week or even 2 weeks. There, the level of electrolytes is usually maintained by your body, but in some people it doesn't happen, especially if your metabolism is kind of not that healthy. So drinking sodium, supplementing with minerals and electrolytes like magnesium and potassium and calcium and phosphorus, drinking bone broth, homemade, of course, because commercial ones have a lot of artificial stuff usually added to them, and they have much less bioavailable nutrients. So anyway, bone broth is also allowed by some fasting protocols. Then some people do a variation of traditional fasting, fat fasting, because fat compared to, let's say, protein and glucose or carbohydrates, fat increases your insulin the least. So it's the increase in your insulin is very, very little. It doesn't increase your blood glucose usually, or increase again it very insignificantly. So if you want to work more on lowering your insulin, on improving your blood glucose profile, then probably fat fasting might be a good option for you, because it still gives you some calories and you might not feel as deprived as you usually would on traditional fasting. You would still have some calories again, but your insulin and your blood glucose would improve. And for a lot of people, having something like bulletproof coffee allows them to do longer, even though not as strict fast as they would do without. So again, water fast, drinking coffee or tea. Most of the fasting, people who study fasting, doctors and MDs, professors, they would not allow you any kind of sweeteners, because even things like stevia or, of course, artificial sweeteners, they usually trigger your blood glucose or insulin response. So sweeteners are usually not allowed on fasting protocols. And protein is usually absent from all the fasting protocols. Again, fat is allowed on some. So anyway, guys, this is when it comes to kinds of fasting and what fasting is and what is not. Try fasting. I love it. And I believe that a lot of my body composition, recompositioning success comes from using fasting as my, not main tool, but I use it regularly. I've always been fasting since I don't know, I can remember it runs in the family. So fasting is amazing. It can allow you to be not as perfect, not so perfect with your diet, and you still get a lot of benefits. Even though anyone who promotes fasting or practices fasting on a regular basis, of course, will tell you that fasting is not the reason or an excuse to eat some shitty diet. On top of that, ideally you would eat good quality diet consisted of whole foods, of unprocessed foods, of nutritious foods, and then on top of that you would practice fasting like we used to do before all the food industry decided that they need to sell you more calories, and that's why they started promoting all these studies and all the fake studies telling you that you need to eat a lot of food, you need to eat every 2 hours to maintain your blood glucose levels or to not lose your muscles. All of that is complete bullshit. Your body can maintain your blood glucose on its own just fine without any food, and if anything, more food causes more insulin spikes. Every time you eat, your insulin goes up. And in most cases, your glucose also goes up unless you're consuming, something like just fat, pure fat, no food. So let's also bust a few myths about fasting. So completely, help you to start your fasting and stop fearing it because of this myth and not truths that you might hear often these days. So myth 1, starvation mode. some people think that when you start fasting, your body will just shut down, you will have lack of energy, you will break down your own muscle, your metabolism will slow down, and when you start eating again, you're gonna put on more fat and you're gonna eat a lot of food because of all this starving that happened. When again, fasting is not starvation, and all the studies show that your metabolism actually increases, not decreases, when you do complete fasting, not when you're on starvation diet. There is a difference between two, when you're on a low calorie diet for prolonged period of time and when you're fasting. So when you're starving yourself by low calorie diet all the time, that's when your base metabolic rate decreases and you kind of get in that starvation mode, breaking down your muscles and increasing fat percentage. When you're fasting though, your metabolic rate actually increases. In 4-day fast, it increases on average by 12%. But even when you stop eating for a day, your metabolic rate doesn't decrease. It actually increases the more you fast. Not indefinitely, but to a certain degree. And then your body preserves your muscle mass. It doesn't burn your muscle mass. That's what all studies show. Again, myth number 2, muscle breakdown. Your body starts breaking down your own muscle. All studies prove when fast is done right, basically when you're not on starvation diet, but when you're actually fasting, you fast and then you eat again, your body preserves your lean muscle mass. Your body actually start metabolizing more of your own fats, and the more you fast, of course, the less glycogen or stored glucose or stored carbohydrates you have, and that means that the rate of carbohydrates or glucose breakdown decreases, fat oxidation or fat utilization, fat usage in your body increases, and your body preserves your lean muscle mass. Because guess what, also during fasting, studies show growth hormone increases, and that growth hormone actually helps you to build muscle and preserve your lean muscle mass. Plus, such hormone as adrenaline also increase with fasting. Not a lot, but they do increase, and they help your body to oxidize fat for energy. And if you're doing your fasting right, then those adrenaline, basically stress hormones, gonna increase to a point where they help you to utilize more fuel, but your muscle mass, because of growth hormone increase, will be preserved. Then myth number 3 is people think that they're going to have lack of energy, they're going to be really weak, they won't be able to think clearly. But all studies show that actually with more fasting, your thinking gets clearer, you're more focused, also your energy levels increase. So more people say that the more they fast, the more they use fasting, their energy increases all the time, and they feel the most mental clarity. Of course, if you're doing your fast first time, there might be a lot of kind of confusion. You might feel foggy, you might feel weak, you might feel dizzy, you might feel a lot of things if you've been doing all this shitty dieting or been eating all these junky foods. But that's not because of fasting. That's just because your body got toxic to such a degree that when those toxins come out when you start fasting, that's why you feel shitty, not because of fasting, but because your body actually getting rid of toxins. And depending on the health of your metabolism, on how toxic your body became, you might need to slow down in fasting, and don't necessarily fast for like a whole week right away. But start small and allow your body to detoxify slowly. And probably myth number 4 that I want to talk about is nutrient deficiency. Some people think that when they fast for, let's say, 16 hours even, they're going to have lack of amino acids or protein, basically, or essential fats or essential vitamins and minerals. But usually, unless you've been starving and you just didn't have access to food for a long period of time, or you've been on some starvation diet, usually your body is well nourished and has more than enough micro and macronutrients stored to maintain your ability to work and function and have workouts and have life and everything. Usually you don't feel anything really when you're fasting, especially if you're relatively healthy, and also there is going to be no lack of any vitamins and minerals and nutrients, of course, if you're not malnourished again. And what else? And your body can recycle stuff, amino acids or proteins, fats. That's one of the benefits of actual fasting, that your body recycles stuff that it doesn't need or that is broken and puts it to use, makes new stuff, eats your old and non-functional cells and make new cells or different cell structures. That's why also people do fasting, to rejuvenate their body, to make it recycle stuff. So, guys, do the fasting. Why do fasting? If you have fat loss, weight loss plateau, if your metabolism is still not fixed and you're having problems with your glucose, with your blood sugar, with your insulin levels, or you have stubborn fat accumulation, or your cholesterol levels are way up, not where they should be, with type 2 diabetes, also regular fasting helps. Type 2 diabetes, for those of you who don't know, it's when your insulin usually high. Fasting always helps to regulate your insulin. And then, of course, mental clarity, your gut health. You might improve any kind of inflammatory reactions or processes happening in your gut and in your body overall. Why else fast? And to just become more efficient and effective fat burner, energy creator, and have more focus, more energy. All of that is fasting. And tomorrow we're going to talk in more details about fasting protocols for weight loss, for type 2 diabetes, for heart health, for muscle gain. Today, to recap, I want you to try fasting, and I want you to understand that there are different kinds of fasting, and if you cannot imagine yourself fasting for even a day, you might start with something like intermittent fasting, not eating for 16 hours a day, let's say from 8 p.m. to 12 to noon next day, or you might even start with 12 hours if you're really bad at it and snacking all the time, right? And the fast, of course, usually by fast, people mean water or tea and coffee, non-caloric drinks. But then you can also add something like bulletproof coffee when you consume pure fat. That would be fat fasting if complete fasting is too hard for you. Or you might consume something like bone broth that will give you minerals and some amino acids and fats and vitamins and minerals, and will just give you some, worms. And also it has gelatin that will also help with your bone health and your overall health, and will keep you full. So different kinds of fasting, guys. And then you can also restrict your calories a couple of days a week for 500 calories, let's say, or try something like fasting mimicking diet. So all kinds of fasting. And the last point I want to recap, to repeat to you, that your body is not going to break down its own muscles. You're not going to go in some starvation mode. Your energy levels should improve after you get used to fasting. And if you're in a Western world, if you haven't been starving, then you're probably well nourished to do even long fast. But again, start small if you're new to this and build it up and see how it goes. If you have any questions, if you want more advice, you can always reach out to me, Angela at createyourself.today. Also, you can pick up this amazing book by Dr. Jason Fung. I think it's called Ultimate Guide to Fasting. Completely forgot. But you can see it in my stories. There's going to be a link in the show notes. So by Jason Fung, Complete Guide to Fasting. I believe that's what it was. You'll find the link in the show notes. And till next time, guys, start fasting. And have an awesome week full of energy, accomplishments, healthy eating, healthy food, and just amazing energy. Have a blast this week. Happy Monday, guys.